Where are you based? Nitesh, is it correct? Am I pronouncing it right?
Right. Yes, correct, correct.
Where are you based?
Hello.
Hello, Duak. How are you?
Hey, hi Joe. I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Hi Saif. Hi Nitash.
Hello, Edward. How are you?
I'm fine. Just closing from work.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of me too.
All right. Are you having a good week so far, guys?
Yeah, it was good. Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, doing fine. Speaking on the testing modules.
Modules.
Yes, a lot of things. I've been like I'm writing most of my testing, my personal projects with the J 5. It's detailed. I think I'll even go back to the YouTube after I finish the one on the school platform. I'll go back to the YouTube, the one you did on YouTube, and also refresh my head again.
Yeah.
Because he touched on a lot of things on that test series.
Make sure you are having if you're using JUnit 5,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're having that set up in the build.gradle. Let me share my
Yeah. That was the
You
first
have
thing
it?
I did. That was the first thing I did. Like, where's that? I mean, my virtual machine is not on. But I did the setup you showed in the video.
Yeah, and also
Because if you
keep in
don't do it,
mind, if you're having older tests, like if you have even a single test that is with JUnit 4, and
okay,
you want to run all of them in the same run,
okay,
then you should also include the vintage package from JUnit 5.
wow,
So let's imagine you are having screenshot tests with paparazzi, which is JUnit 4, and then you want to
okay.
run all of them in the same phase, then you should include the vintage package.
Oh, do you have the package configured on your?
I don't know, let me see. Um, no, we don't have here vintage. Yeah, let me share my screen. Screen's on. So here you have Jupyter and you have Jupyter params. So you
Okay,
would need one more, like this one, for example, JUnit Jupyter Vintage. You'll need this one to include also, and then it's gonna run.
okay.
All right. So by the way, we are starting every session with a question. Like if somebody has anything to ask, anything to share, anything you've learned during the week that was interesting. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Nitish.
Okay. So I nowadays I am learning automotive Android framework project with AOSP and HAL. So I am facing new challenges work in this project. So I need help on that part also. And the second thing is I am looking a new opportunity since 6 7 months, and I am facing explanation issue. My answer is not 100% correct. So interviewer didn't select me, didn't hire me. They are don't judge me, but I have a good work experience. I have a good knowledge, and I'm doing hard work. My career is performance is good, but I can't express my all thought with interviewer, so they are didn't hire me. So I'm facing that nowadays issue. I am disappointed.
Did you also get that as a feedback from the interviewers?
So some interviewer gave me feedback, and some interviewer didn't give me feedback. They are saying me, I am high I they are saying me I hire another candidate, like that.
Yeah, I mean, usually, like, if they want to reject, they would say we are gonna proceed with another candidate. Obviously, like it's easy rejection line. However, if you don't pursue for feedback, like tangible thing, like what should I improve? Okay, you don't hire me, cool, but what should I improve so that the other one, the next interview, I get better? Most of the time, you're gonna get something more, like, at least better feedback. So, like, what actually you have to improve. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. I agree with your point. So some interviewer say me, or you learn your more you learn more thing, and you 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 learn more thing because your knowledge is not good. When I give the interview in automotive domain with Android framework, so in this platform, interviewer told me, you haven't much more knowledge, so you you practice and you learn. mm, you gain the knowledge, then you give the interview. And apart from apart from I am giving interview in Kotlin, and Kotlin I am giving interview. So there I know everything: what is the extension function, what is the inline function, and what is the shield class scope function. Everything I know. I have work already on that part, but I didn't I am doing mistake in explanation time, in an answer and give the answer that time. So that is the reason. So I don't know what I'm doing.
Are these interviews held in English or in your local language?
In English.
Yeah. So what I can tell you from what you told me so far, definitely you have to improve on the communication side. If
Hmm.
the language is English, if the language in concern is English, you have to improve. So how do you improve? By practicing. So this community, for example, is a good opportunity for you to practice, talk to people, chat, send messages. So don't hesitate. People should be okay to communicate, right? So, like, you can start by improving the communication first, because if you have challenges to deliver your message across, means that you are not communicating well, and that's gonna be big barrier no matter how strong you are as a developer, because development, like software in general, is not a lone ranger thing. You have to work within a team most of the time. And when you're working within a team, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to express yourself, tell what are the problems, what are the challenges you are facing, and potentially offer some solutions. And then you have to be able to discuss those. So the communication is definitely, how to say, like the number one. Like, if you couldn't communicate, no matter how strong you are as a developer, it would be a no-go. That's
But
my
yeah,
perspective.
and
Maybe somebody else has something else to add from these guys here.
Yeah, I've been there once actually. It's easy to learn new things, but it's hard to teach it to other people, things you understand. From what I did, I usually made some articles about the things that I learned previously and try to teach some of the people, and I try to and like teach myself how to market myself well. to be able to get more opportunities. Of course, I'm good at marketing myself at my mother language, but it's a bit hard for me to express the things that I know in the English language. Of course, this is a hard thing for him. But I think it would be easier for you to like try to practice more about the English language and try to discuss more about the development articles with English people that speak the same language. So this might help you.
Definitely. I
Yeah,
found
because
myself like when you're writing, because you don't have
yes,
to express yourself so fast as if you are speaking, you have the
yeah,
ability to think when you're writing a sentence. And that actually helps you over time to get good in communication
exactly.
afterwards when actually speaking.
Yeah, because the idea is a bit structured in your mind after you write about it and you discuss it with other people. So yeah, that's the basic and the thing that you would need to focus on in
Yeah,
order to get more opportunities
yeah.
for.
And you build
Yeah,
vocabulary as well because like you can
yeah,
research
sure.
internet while writing. So like if you can like what I would do is I would after each day I would summarize what happened to that day. For example, on the technical side, like what I was working on today, what challenges did I face, why I wasn't able to come across those things. That might be helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now on the other side, on the side of the technical side, so here in this community, we are sort of answering or trying to address questions that you may have that are simple, like that we can easily address within 1 hour. But if it's something that you need coaching on, like let's say you need to understand Jetpack Compose concept in general, then I do that in the one-on-one private coaching. So like here we work on code, you can ask questions, and then we can see maybe you can learn from that. But like for specific sort of more in-depth teaching or coaching, I have one-on-one support. Just saying, if that's something that might be interesting for you.
Sure.
So fuck, I think you had something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I can suggest for Nitesh, you can do some mock-up interviews, practice on ADP list. You can go and you can reach out to some of the people of Android domain. They can help you to practice the mock-up interviews,
Yes.
and you can get your CV reviewed once if that is not matching with the level of the expectation of the recruiters. You can find those people in that platform.
If you can drop the link here in the chat, it will be
Yeah,
beneficial
sure.
for everybody. But yeah, for the
Yeah.
CV, for example, I can also give you feedback. Like you can send the CV over to me, like send me a message if you haven't already, and send me the CV so I can give you some feedback on the CV myself. It's not a problem. But having the mock-up interviews is really, really helpful because when you're having a mock-up interview, it's not only you practicing, the interviewer is also practicing, so it's a win-win. And then you at the end, the key is to actually give you objective feedback, because if I'm recruiting for a company, I would say, look, we're going to proceed with another candidate. I'm not giving you much feedback. But if it's a mock-up interview, that's the key of the interview, to actually give you feedback afterward.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yep.
So currently I am learning Kotlin multi-platform. So I am having issues on the UI preview tooling actually. I'm not getting the preview like what we get in Compose. So anyone has worked on or faced this kind of challenges?
You're using Compose multi-platform as well?
Yeah, I have added that plugin also, Compose multi-platform.
And do you use the dependencies from JetBrains or from Google?
Using the JetBrains.
Hmm.
I have added the template which I downloaded from their website. They have a template website, right?
Yes.
We can choose. Yeah, I have I downloaded that and using that, but I am not getting the preview actually.
Yeah, I think it's not supported yet. I mean, last year I tried Compose multi-platform with desktop application. It wasn't supported. I haven't tried it
Okay.
this year with the desktop version, but I tried it with the web version, and it's still not yet been added to multi-platform. So I'm not sure about the other platforms as iOS and Android, but about the web and desktop, I don't think it's like added in these platforms.
Yeah, platforms are working fine. If I run the app, it is working fine.
Yeah.
But to develop, I need to see it right on the go, the changes.
Yes.
That preview is not coming.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I like to be frank, I don't know much about multi-platform Compose. I haven't tried myself much, so I don't have
Okay.
the experience to actually say something. And that's why I'm saying, like, if somebody else has a more experience, let's share. And probably at some point it would be nice to actually start doing something with Compose multi-platform in this project as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
I will try out, and if I find a solution, I will definitely share with the team.
that would be very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you guys are building more and more experience with Kotlin multi-platform and Compose multi-platform, probably I'm gonna need your help at some point to actually start porting parts of this project into multi-platform, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
that we can experience actually migration the other way around, not starting with Compose multi-platform, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Some companies are doing that, and they're gradually migrating from this native to multi-platform. That
Yeah.
would also help. Yeah.
Unlike that, my company where I'm working right now, they deliberately hired native Android and iOS.
Okay.
So yeah, they are still not believing into like multi-platform, or they gave a try to React back in the days, and the app never appeared on the market. So they just dropped everything, and now they're giving a new try. So
Mm-hmm.
we are building a MVP now. Actually, it is quite stable, I would say. So it should come up to the market any day. But first, we are giving the build to beta customers so that they can give some more feedback.
Mm. And Shafak,
Yeah.
for the Kotlin multi-platform, there's a group I belong to. There's this guy called Russell Wolf. He works with Touch Lab. So you can follow him on LinkedIn or Twitter and just DM him.
Okay.
He works with
That
Touch
would be
Lab
nice.
team. Let me share his bio with you. He's always talking about Kotlin multi-platform anytime um we have a meeting or something. Just give me a second. Let me share
Yeah.
his
Thank you.
contact with you. So you can just DM him on, follow him up on. He respond to your tweets. He's always championing Kotlin multi-platform. So I shared his profile with you.
Let's see. Yeah, Russell Wolf.
Yeah, so he's part of the Google Developer Group boasting. I normally
Okay.
attend their meetup. They have meetup every two weeks. So, but my time zone is always at midnight. So anytime I have the strength, I attend. But if you DM him, if you message him, he'll respond to you on Twitter or LinkedIn.
Cool. So then, yeah, you can just
Good.
direct message to them right away.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah. That
awesome.
would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that there are such people.
he's a very nice guy.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else have any question and request or something else? Or maybe we can do some work on a code. Okay, so let me start off by telling you what I've done off camera last week. If you remember from the previous call, we were updating some dependencies here, and we faced an issue with the ripple effect, which is the default material one, and they deprecated it, and they are encouraging us to implement our own if we want to, or migrate to material tree repo, whatever API. So I see that there is yet another update here, but I think I don't need this material dependency because I have it should be built in the in the Compose SDK anyway. So if I just comment out this one, it should still work, but let's give it a try.
Hello, Joe.
Yeah, go
They're,
ahead.
they're talking about deprecating the material icons that shipped alongside the Compose UI. I think
Yeah,
I saw something like that on somebody's post.
yeah, they had different dependency for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are deprecating. I also read that.
Yeah, could be. There are some, I noticed some of them are deprecated because of the left to right reading. You know, for example, a back icon might be like they deprecated that one and they added new one that is actually changing depending on the left to right setup of the device.
So now
But
they're talking of downloading the files from material icons.io.
oh, that's different one.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Let me share it.
Okay.
RIE. Let me just share the link with you.
Because
Because that's what I've been
I was
using all
thinking
along.
more about, let's say, this, if you have login screen, if you have
Let's see.
wait, this is not the
So
project that I want, that I had to share. This is the one. So I was talking about, let's say we have login screen, and here I think we have navigation icons. So here I'm using these icons auto mirrored field arrow back. I thought that you are talking about these ones. Is the code visible or I should make it bigger?
make it bigger.
Bigger, right?
Yeah. So me, I don't normally use the inbuilt icons. I normally download and import with a variable.
These ones are having from, like, they are coming from a dependency. I will show you which one. But
No, I don't
basically,
normally use the dependency. I don't normally use the inbuilt. That's the one coming from the dependency. So what me I do is I download the icons from
okay,
fonts.google.com,
I
then
see.
reference it in the durable resource.
Okay, so these ones you are saying are getting deprecated.
No, the one in the dependencies are getting deprecated. This is the one they're asking us to fall back to.
So then you can
Click,
basically download from here and use them in your app.
click on one. Just click on
Yeah.
one of the icons. Click on one of the icons and you see Android, iOS, and web.
Yeah,
So click on the Android, then you download the file and add to your project, then reference it in a durable.
cool.
So this is what they're asking us to move to.
Okay. So you can basically you can use these. You can continue
Yeah, you
using
can.
these. But
Yeah.
these ones, I like, we had this material icon extended dependency. That's what I was using. And then I can access many icons by using like icons API dot. Then you can use default. I was using default, let's say back
Okay.
or arrow, was it? And now this one is deprecated and they ask you to replace it with this one. But okay. Cool. So what happened was we've updated in the last episode, in the last call, we've updated some of the dependencies, which was Compose SDK as well. And we had an error with, let me show you, in our team. Here we had repo. This one. Now this one is deprecated. So after the update of the dependencies, we weren't able to use this one. And it says you have to create your own indication if you read the documentation, if you want something specific, or you can just use the REPL API, but it no longer, because we had here like, I think something like by remember, because it had to be remembered and blah, blah, blah. Now the API no longer needs that. So the local indication can still stay, and we can just call REPL to provide the default material REPL. So that was something that didn't work after updating to the latest versions in the previous episode. So I just fixed it that way. Other than that, everything was okay. Let me remove this. And we were working on a sign up screen as well, which looks like this.
Sign up screen.
Yes. So we have a preview for this one. Now, in the previous call, we consolidated the state. So we created a class that will be holding our state, which is this sign up screen state. And probably it's not complete because we only encapsulated the things that are needed for the email, for the password, and for the about. But maybe, or probably, we are gonna need additional state here, like some loading states, whatever. However, instead of guessing, or instead of, well, for a simple screen, we can pretty much like predicate what we need or predict. However, I wanted to go by test driving now everything from here downwards, and then use this as we create it. Like now we have only like data class with email, password, and about, nothing else. Now this is like passed down as a state to the actual screen, and the screen is also like creating events that are coming like on click, on typing, or when we change the value of the email, we are having an event, but nothing's happening here. I call these composables a bridging composable that actually binds the screen, the actual thing that is being drawn on the screen, with the view model. So as a to-do here, we have called the view model, but the view model doesn't exist yet. So the goal is to start working on this view model and hoist this state in there so that we can survive configuration changes. If we want, we can store it into SavedStateHandle as well. It's up to the support that we want to provide. And yeah, so that's the idea. So we are gonna hoist it there, and then we can also write, like we can work on the things that we need to support email, password, about, like hoisting that state. And then afterwards we can start working on the sign up, that's driving the whole thing downwards. Make sense? Or maybe there are some questions or unclear things or uncertainties, anything?
Yeah, we should make a view model and inject it or like pass it to the this screen function here. So maybe we might like test the view model in the future, like pass another view model if we wanted to, rather than like declaring a variable view model here.
I wanted to create a view model now, I want to come up with a test that will force me to create a view model and do the functionality for hoisting the state. Maybe that's a good start. And then we are gonna inject the view model here afterwards, like the one that will create specifically for this use case.
Like what type of test we might do before adding the view model here?
I don't have a view
UI
model
test?
now.
I know, but do we like make tests before adding the view model?
Well, I
Like UI
could, but
test?
then I'm gonna end up with a class that, like I can have here, for example, let's say sign up view model. Like that. And now I don't have it, so I have to create one. I can create it right here. I can extract it afterwards, no problem. It has to extend from view model so that this call is gonna work, right?
Yeah,
So
and it should have the
I have
view model implementation.
Yeah. So this is gonna work, but how do I hoist now the state? So I can just go ahead and keep working on the view model, but it would be wiser if I just add some tests. So then if I end up changing something unintentionally, I'm gonna have an indication that I broke something. Make sense?
Sorry, I was a bit lost. What did you say? Sorry.
I was saying, yeah, I can keep working now here and hoist this state in the view model.
Okay.
But if I start with the tests, I'm gonna have an indication, like if midway, if I break something that was supposed to work from like 10 minutes ago, I'm gonna have an indication that something is broken. It's a small thing
Okay.
now. It's fine, like if you just go YOLO and write the implementation of everything. It's just me trying to present test-driven development here.
It's okay. I think like if we could add some functionality to it, but would be like in empty functions that we could test later.
Later
Like
equals
perhaps
never,
adding
right?
no, like adding an interface with the functions that we need and pass the view model, and then test it before writing the implementation of the functions in the view model. Like for example, on sign up on about change, you could like make a single interface that has all the functionalities and make the view model implement them, and perhaps make a test for this interface.
Why would you write an interface for this?
You could actually pass the view model instead of all these functions. Yeah, like it could really replace all these parameters with a single interface. You would pass the view model and use it. I sometimes
shield
do
class,
this. No, not still the class. It's basically an interface.
shield class. We,
So yeah, that's my idea.
No, I'm trying to figure out, because like we use interface when we have multiple implementations of something, right?
You could think of it of the Liskov principle. I forgot what principle it was. You could like make the view model implement multiple interfaces.
Yeah.
That each interface has a specific responsibility. One is for auth, one is for another thing, and basically combine all these parameters into a single interface that you would pass the view model here that implements that interface and use it in the composable here. And in the test driven, you'd use like create a mockup interface or object of that interface.
Okay, so maybe I'm misunderstanding something. I'm just thinking that we are adding complexity without really needing. Would you be keen on guiding me? What should I type so that we can see what you mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
Could
let's
you
write.
like
So you
make an
said
interface?
interface, right?
Yeah, name it anything, actions, sign up, authentication, whatever.
Okay.
Then you would add like multiple functions that you'd use in your composable, for example, on sign up and navigate up, like some like functionalities that are similar and have the same behavior. You understand what I mean?
Okay, for
Like for
example.
example, on email change or on password change, that makes sense.
Okay.
And on password change, make the view model implement that.
On about update value string. Make the view model implement that. Okay.
So in that case, instead of all these parameters, you could actually only pass a single parameter in your composable, just passing a single parameter of the type of the interface you just made, which is sign up actions, and you would
Here.
use the view model. Yeah.
Okay, so aren't we just moving this here into the interface?
You're just moving the functionalities of them into a single interface.
So I'm having single composable here. So like, am I actually doing something?
If you had
But
like multiple or like lots of parameters in your composable, which would be much cleaner and readable for some people to separate these functionalities into a separate interface. And by that, you would make your view model also readable by knowing that it has these responsibilities and make it do one of the 5 principles of development. So yeah, this is my idea.
got it.
Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't really do it because the view model has one single responsibility that doesn't really have much actions. So yeah.
Yeah, because like what I'm thinking now. So here you would pass the interface, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about open close principle.
And that's here in the definition of the function.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, not here. I meant like in the other one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, in the content.
Okay. And then you
So
don't need this.
yeah, you pass the view model. Exactly.
Okay, and you do something like this. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But aren't we actually, by doing this, doing the same as if I pass the view model down to this one?
No, because you are not accessing all the functionalities of the view model. You're only accessing the functionalities the view model implemented on that interface. For example, if you added more functions into your view model, you wouldn't be able to access it because this parameter actually has the type of sign-up actions, so it only accesses the functions of the sign-up actions.
Yeah, so then then it means that I would have to create different interfaces for different things that will be implemented by the view model.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
So
it's one
yeah,
way of doing it.
yeah, and depends on the team, of course.
I see this as like overcomplicating without having a reason to do it, really.
No, I mostly do it because it's a bit easier for me and the team that I'm working with. It depends on the team, actually.
Yeah, definitely. But like, I define it once, then I'm overriding it here. So when I have any, I mean, usually I come up with an interface when I know that there might be more implementations of it.
Maybe. Like you can have cleaner code by passing like less variables into the composable. This might be more readable, and also implementing one of the principles. I see it more readable for me.
Yeah,
Depends on the
it's a matter of
implementation.
preference, I would say. Yeah,
Yeah, of
it's just
course.
one way of doing it. But essentially, yeah, we are gonna reduce the number of arguments to the composable, but we are moving it somewhere else.
Yeah.
If like some people are also using these events, like they're gonna have a sealed class, and then they're gonna have
Yes.
one function here that will take an event, and then you are gonna have in your view model or somewhere else. So you are gonna have sealed class with multiple things, and then replicated those things with a when expression in your view model.
Yeah,
So
so
in your
MVI
composable, you are
implementation.
saving
Yeah.
few things in one place by
Yeah.
making two other things that are gonna be replicated on two places. So like,
Yeah, it's a matter of preferences.
Yes, just a other way around, right? The seal class thing is in MVI architecture, right?
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So essentially, yeah, you are gonna have one thing with the MVI here, but then you are gonna have big when in your view model.
Yeah.
It's, I don't say it's wrong. I'm not thinking it's wrong or right. It's just preference.
Yeah.
Yeah. How I would approach is, let me go back. Yeah, probably I'm gonna still have these functions. But I'm gonna introduce them by from the tests actually, and I'm not gonna have an interface for it. In this class, I'm gonna create it from the tests, if that makes sense. But it's definitely like just different way of doing it. Cool. I saw also one more approach, Saif. I couldn't really remember now. How was it? But do you know the scopes of Compose? So for example, you have,
What do you mean? Like row scope, column
I
scope,
don't
or
know.
what?
you have, for example, you can write a composable that's gonna work on a scope of a column. So you can say
Oh yeah, the extension
Yeah.
function, of course.
column scope, for example, then something. And now this is also one way. Let me turn off this. All right, how can I turn this off? Because it's a bit distracting.
Which one?
I think whenever I type, this is sort of blinking. So like similarly to this, we can introduce a scope that will be available on our content. And then we can work with the scope here instead of passing this. And then again, it's gonna be an interface that we can control on the compose side. So it's not gonna interfere with, excuse me, it's not gonna interfere
Sure.
with the view model and things like that.
Like passing a function or parameter that is of type column scope, you mean?
Like if you go to this interface, column scope, and you can see how it is implemented here, like adding modifiers and stuff like that. Instead of adding modifiers, you can add functions that are gonna be available like this on email update, on that kind of things. But instead of column here, we can use something like sign up screen. Yeah, this one. First, we have to introduce an interface.
It is a like extension function.
Just like it is here. And then,
Okay.
yeah, I have to dig into the API to see how it is bound to the, how to make it available or scoped only on this one, so that like other composables are not gonna have access to it. But yeah, it's the same concept. So here we are gonna have like on email updated or whatever. And then here we can have sign up content, and then we can pass that down. Yeah, that's also a possibility, like to have the scopes. Maybe, yeah, maybe I can dig a little bit more into it. I saw it like few months back, so I don't really
Yeah,
remember all the insights, but I know how it is built on top of which concept. So maybe we can look into that at some point. It might be interesting.
sure,
Yeah,
no problem.
cool. But with this approach that you shared, do you face recompositions or something like that that are not like unnecessary?
No, just like these functionalities on the view model, there would not be any issue of recompositions in it.
Yeah, because
I
it
haven't
is an
really faced
interface,
that.
so it is sort of considered
Yeah,
stable.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure.
Nice. Okay. Um, I'm just thinking from paradigm perspective,
Mhm.
if it is still adhering to the MVVM or it is more of like, because like we are essentially making the view model know about the view.
No, we are not making the view. We're making it know
Actually,
about
no,
any
no,
view.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just an interface. Yeah,
you
it
could
is not having view
basically,
specific code. Yeah,
yeah, you could just like take this composable and create an object that implements this interface without any need for a view model. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So then you can just come up with more interfaces, or not necessarily. Like you can only have an interface that's gonna be representing the things that you are gonna work in your compose or composables, and then everything else gonna be still in the view model, not necessarily accessible through the interface.
yeah. I mean, you could think of it as like the only responsibilities of this view model will be used as the functionalities are in the interface, and the rest of the functions in the view model would be a private utility that would help me in the building these functions, and I would reduce the number of the parameters I would pass to the composable here. So it's a way situation, and preferences matter. Of course, the team has to do, uh, to do with this.
Yeah, I think you can also extract it the other way around. So for example, you create or you write the interface or you write the view model, then you extract only the functionality that is like working, like
Yeah, yeah,
that you
sure,
want to be accessing from your compose into an interface, and then pass down the interface here. That's gonna be also a possibility. What I'm
sure.
thinking of is something like, let's say I have here an interface, like, of course, let's imagine that we test drove a class. Um, that ended up being a view model, and it has a functionality on email update, new value string, and now here it is updating some internal state that compose is observing, and then we can do extract interface on this into a separate file, and then we can select which function we want to be extracted, and we can call this sign up view actions. Not sure if that's the name I want, but cool. And then it
Sure.
creates this, and then we can, but here you would still inject the view model or the interface.
No, you'd inject the view model and you'd pass the view model here
Yeah, here
because
you
it's a
pass
matter
down the
of
view
type.
model, here you expect the interface.
Yeah,
Cool.
of course.
So then you take the actions. Cool. No, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a matter of you could think of it as, imagine if you have a class that has a preferences, like a whole class of all the preferences values you'd need, like authentication, user profile, but this class has multiple functionalities in it. You could make one of the principles that could do a design pattern to fix this issue. So you could inject a specific interface of this preferences. Like for example, I would make this class implement user profile and authentication. So whenever in my any view model that I need some specific preferences, I would inject that specific preferences and use it, not injecting the whole preferences class. You
Yeah.
think of it that way. So yeah, it's a matter of principle of this curve. I forgot the name of the principle actually, but this is a very useful one
It is
that I
simple.
mostly use. Yeah.
It sounds like interface segregation principle.
Yeah, yes, interface aggregation. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Let's do something like that maybe then. Like
Sure.
we can go from test driving the view model, then extract the interface, and then replace this. I think that's gonna be like sort of easy refactoring.
Okay.
I'd like to I mean, I'm not saying that this is wrong. I just like to test drive the creation and like the functionality of the view model. Not for me, for the sake of demonstrating TDD, sort to say.
Mhm.
And then also like we can have some, we are gonna see some refactoring as well. Let me see if I can install here a plugin that's gonna show the shortcuts that I'm pressing. Presentation. There was a plugin called Presentation Assist, and for some reason it got deprecated or like unsupported in the newer Android Studio. So the newer versions were not having it or not allowing it.
I think that it's available when you like try to record your screen throughout the Mac QuickTimer or whatever application name. I forgot about it. There's some
Yeah,
possibility to view them.
yeah, might be. I'm not using for screen recording. I use this one. Yeah, OBS. But yeah, would have been nice so that you can see also the screen, the shortcuts that I'm pressing, guys. Anyway, like let's rename this one to something like sign up screen state test. So notice that I'm naming the tests according to the functionality that I'm going to be capturing inside, rather than naming them against the class that they are gonna be testing. So maybe I'm gonna be penetrating from a class that is called whatever view model, but by not sort of coupling the test of the name with the name of that class, I'm flexible to do the refactoring without changing my tests. So I'm trying to actually name the things more sort of on top of the functionality or the behavior that I'm expecting to test rather than on some specific code, which is an implementation detail. Make sense?
What exactly are we testing in this class? Like testing the state, how it changes, or what?
Yeah, like hoisting the state.
Oh, okay. It's a
So
unit test, right? Like
yeah,
not a UI test.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially the things that you would put in that interface that we spoke about before.
Yeah,
And then we can extract the interface right away. So I would
makes
say
sense.
here basically we are sort of testing the whole communication between the compose and the external world, which is the view model and down. Although the view model
Yeah.
might not be like different world, it's like still I see it as a
Yeah,
bridge
still
between.
yeah, still in the views, but
Yeah,
separate from the Android SDK. Sure.
yeah, yeah. Sort of bridging thing between the two.
Yeah.
And so here we can actually test the the things that are coming to the view model and the things that are going back, like the observation of the things, like the state.
Mhm.
So whether it is kept, and now we have the flexibility to keep it. Like we are still like we can think of whether we want to store the state in a save state handle, or we want to store it just in a like in a property in there. Good approach is to store it in a safe state handle so they can restore on a process death. Now it depends on the screen, on the functionality that you are working on. Maybe for this screen, I don't think for the login we've done that. Let me see. Login view model. Yeah, we store it in a safe state handle.
Sorry, do you mean SavedStateHandle as the one you are using in the main activity, or like a state flow?
Safe state handle.
Oh, okay. I thought of something else.
Basically, this is like an abstraction that allows you to, like if you have an activity on save state and on state restore, is done automatically for you, so to say. This one is
Yeah.
an abstraction that calls internally those APIs. So like in a process death situation, if you restore, it's gonna restore the thing that was stored the last in there. And you can still return flow from it. Like you can get the state that you are storing in the save state handle. You can they expose an API saying get state flow. You can do mutable dot like mutable live data. So they have all these APIs. Saved.
I mean, the only thing that I use SavedStateHandle is used throughout like passing parameters between screens, but haven't really used it.
Yeah, that's also a good purpose to use.
Yeah, with composables for sure.
Yeah.
But like, what do you mean by get state? Like, like the state is preserved in these in this
I'm
class?
gonna demonstrate what I mean right away.
Okay.
I wanted to show these, like they have get live data as well, so like bunch of APIs that are good to use. Process that, like, oh wait, I should have run in the emulator. Let's wait for this to finish. Process that is like when the system needs to close your application due to, let's say, less resources, or like when it's short on resources. So imagine your application is in background and the system kills it. When you go back to your application, you want it to be
to have the same state.
Yeah, you want it to restore from where it left.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So I think view model doesn't survive process death.
Yeah,
right?
view model doesn't, so that's why we use SavedStateHandle.
So SavedStateHandle is a mechanism to
So
shield your
let's go.
application from process
Imagine
death.
you are typing your login form, let's say. So you type something like email@email.com, and now somebody calls you. And that call, maybe it's a video call on Facebook or something, and then the system has to close your application, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, because you are in a call, another activity gets in front, right? Let's say this activity gets in the call. Now the system can kill everything that is behind, like your minimized activity.
Yeah, due to battery optimization, it would be killed sooner or later. The
Now,
application.
let me open Logcut. We can simulate this. So kill process, because this is the process that we are working on. We can kill it and call it a day. Now, if you go back to your application, you expect it again to be on the login screen rather than on the welcome, and you want the thing that you have typed to be still there.
Cool.
I mean, people would expect that.
Yeah.
So there you are.
But you might like do this for the home screen and the sign up screen, because if your app got killed, you didn't really reach the nested screens when you first start the app, right? Like you're not storing the last screen when you open the app again and view the last screen you closed.
No, that's not. Like this is only like particularly for process death.
Yeah.
So I was
Like
in the login screen. Now I'm back to the login screen, and what I've typed is still there.
Yeah, like you're doing this only for the home screen and the sign up screen. Like the first screen you see when you open the app, you want to preserve this state.
You mean this one?
Yeah, like imagine if you have like a profile screen, like where would you preserve its state when you can, because when you are starting the app, you only see the sign up screen or like login screen. So there is no need for preserving the state of the profile screen.
I think, like, let's imagine that you don't need to re-log in every time.
Mm.
Then you are at the profile, you're editing your profile or something, and then the application gets in the background and it gets killed. So when you open it again, I mean, it's up to the business to decide whether it's valuable for
Sure.
the users, or like maybe you're gonna get some feedback from actual users and they're gonna tell you, okay, we need you to bring me back to the screen where I left off. But that's only like if you want to build a functionality for, like, if the user kills the application, then it's different. Like, you cannot, like, if I go to login and if I kill the application now, it is not gonna preserve where I was. It's gonna open from
Yes.
scratch everything.
Yeah. I meant like the state of the values of the fields, of course.
Yeah. But if you want to store the values of the fields, maybe like is as a draft, then you have to do some mechanism yourself, like storing the shared preferences or database or something like that.
Yeah, but aren't you like reserving it in the save state handle as a state?
Yeah, you do, but it is not gonna survive you killing the application, because the APIs to save the state and restore the state are not called when you force kill the application.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shoot. Shafak.
Yeah, so we generally don't use this safe handle, right? So what can be the use cases actually? Only for to survive the process kill or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, usually it is for that. And
Yeah.
if you want to pass arguments from one to another, for example, if you pass arguments, you can get them in your view model by using the
Hmm.
save state handle. So it is automatically being sent. And then in your view model, you can get them from the save state handle.
Okay, it depends on the business, right? Whether we need or not.
Yes.
Because view models does the job for the
Yeah,
configuration changes. That also works fine.
correct.
Because this scenario will rarely occur, right? This process skill.
Sorry,
Correct. But like,
hello.
yeah, just a moment, Doc. It's correct. It's not happening very often. But if you read on the Android documentation, it is like
Yeah.
they encourage you to do for things that are, imagine a big form, and then the user is
Mhm.
almost like 90% done, and
Yeah,
then somebody kills the application. They are not happy to go back and refill everything.
that's definitely right.
Yeah. So it depends from case to case, maybe.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Does this also happen when the app crash, or that's another thing?
I think that's another thing. Well, maybe we can give it a try. So let's type something here.
Because it's a bit confusing. Like when you close the app, it's the same as like killing the app, but the state is not preserved.
Yeah, let's crash it now. So I'm gonna crash, then try
Okay.
to open it. I think it's gonna restore because the save, or maybe not. Let's see. No, it's not.
Yeah, it didn't. So it only happens when the Android system kills the app.
Yeah, because only then it calls the on save state and on restore state afterwards.
Mm,
Only then.
that makes sense.
Okay. So I think because vModel cannot handle this functionality, that's why they just put a separate API to handle it. Because when I encountered the API first, I was kind of confused. if vmodel save states, why do we need save state handle? Because when I saw the practical demonstration around there, okay, if there's sudden process death, vmodel cannot, it can't cater for that. It has to just be the save state handle that comes in at that point. And it's only triggered, like Joe says, it's only triggered when there is process death. If there's no process death, it's not triggered.
Yeah, the process dead is not something that is triggered by the user. It's only by the system. Now, the thing is, like, this view model is not something that is like, it's just built on top of whatever was there since Android 1. It's just an abstraction built on top. So because when you are changing any configuration on Android, like changing the language, changing the orientation, changing the theme, whatever, it has to restart the whole view. So it was restarting the activity, which is considered the view, or a fragment later. Now, you could have come up with a fragment, let's say, that is not bound to the life cycle. So it can survive the configuration changes by calling on retained configuration changes, whatever that API was. And so these things, the view models, are built on top of that. So they can survive the regular configuration changes. So whatever you have as arguments in there, like as data in there, is gonna survive these configuration changes. But if you close the application, it's gonna be closed. Or the scope, for example, if it's bound to an activity, when the activity is closed, it's being released. Now, to store state to survive process death, also those APIs were there since Android 0 or since Android 1. Now this save state handle is just an abstraction built on top that you can use as a key value pair. So it takes care for the things for you. So there is not much magic beneath. Cool. Okay, we wanted to test drive the
It's, sorry for that, Joe.
no problem.
Still I have one question.
Yeah.
So, save state handle is working on system kill, not user kill.
Yes.
Suppose I minimize my application.
Yeah.
So I minimize my application. So that time our activity life cycle is called on pause on resume.
On pause when you minimize, and then on stop.
On stop, on pause and on stop when I will do minimize our activity.
Yeah.
So our application is haven't kill. Still he is pause.
Yeah.
So how can I say application when I will do kill our application, and I get the data by save save state handler.
Do you mind repeating the question?
I'm saying I'm saying how I can say application is kill, because when I will do when I minimize my application, that time our activity lifecycle pause and stop method is called that time. So our application is not kill.
Okay.
So basically my question is why we are using save state handle.
Yeah, so probably I did a bad job explaining it because I was talking about it for the last 15 minutes. So the save state handle is essentially an abstraction that calls, if you have an activity, you have these, you can override these two functions on save instance state. Then you can store into a bundle things that you want to store. When the activity restores, you can restore from that bundle whatever data you stored there, right? Now these are called when the system decides to close your application, which is backgrounded. So as you said, if I minimize the application, on your activity first is called on pause, then on stop.
Yes. Okay.
That's it. Now you are here. Another application is brought to the foreground. Maybe a call, maybe camera, maybe whatever. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Now, the system is short in resources, doesn't have any RAM to keep your application alive. So it's gonna decide to kill it. So the system makes a call for each application that is alive to save state instance. Then this function is gonna be called. So whatever implementation you have here inside is gonna execute. It's gonna store those things into this bundle.
Okay.
When you launch your application again, it sees that it was killed by the system, and then it's gonna call this function to restore whatever was there.
Okay.
Now, because like you can freely use these APIs, you can do that if you want, but they introduced another abstraction that you can inject in your view model. Where is the view model? That has just the same thing inside. It does that for you. So this is like a key value map, and then here you can just say save state handle put or set for key A value A. It's the same as if you're storing into a bundle, and then it's gonna store when the system kills your application. Just an abstraction on top of those two APIs. Is it cleaner now?
What are you saying? Last word? Restore?
It's gonna restore when you bring the application, or it's gonna, yeah, it just uses
Correct.
these APIs from the activity that we used. It uses those. It's just an abstraction on top.
Okay, correct.
Shafak, go ahead.
Yeah. So you said that this is an abstraction on top of that activity to override method, right? So also the view model is scoped to the fragment or activity. So it will automatically take care of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the point that they introduced this to sort of easyfy our life.
Yeah, that's good.
So Joy, so finally, I want to say one thing. So I want to say when uh, uh, when our application really, when our application is killed, like when our application do the destroy, that time save state handler not working. I'm right?
No. When the system decides to kill your application, it's gonna like
No, user
if the user
when
kills it,
when user
yes.
kill the application finally, and no any application in minimize that our application directly killed by user.
Yeah.
So that time save state handle not working.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. Well, save state handle, but also those APIs that I just showed you in the activity, they are not gonna be called. Because this is built on top of those. It's the same thing.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
So the only difference is between who kills the application. If it's the system, it works. If it's the user, think about phases. So the system knows that it needs more memory and it is striving to release more memory. So it says, okay, whoever is alive, I'm just about to kill you. So this is your last chance to save yourself. So it makes a pass that allows these applications to store themselves as a state somewhere, and then it's gonna kill them. If the user is
Correct.
killing the application, there is no way for the system to know that you are about to kill an application, to give it like to predict, to say, okay, store yourself because this user is crazy, is gonna kill you. Make sense?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Why I'm asking again and again this topic, because 2 days ago interviewer asked me same question. How can you save your data when you application when you kill your application? How can you save data? That time I told him I will save data by share preference, as well as I will save data in room database. This is the two option. So I'm not sure he asking about this thing or he asking about share preference. So that's why I'm here. Here. Bring the topic. Bring the question.
No problem. But yeah, you could,
Yeah.
like, next time, if you get similar question, you can ask who kills the application, the user or the system. Then you can explain the whole thing.
Sure. Yeah. Now I understood. I will ask him. I will do the clear. What is the your question? Yeah.
Cool. Okay, guys, we are about 20 minutes over time, which is fine. It's cool. It was a valuable conversation. I enjoy when I have more interaction. And Saif was always very active, which is great.
Yes.
Thank you,
Sorry?
mate. Yeah, you don't really feel the time moves.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it was a lovely
Standard
lecture
yesterday.
conversation.
So thank you, everybody. I wish every other session is like this, and we have people like having comments, giving suggestions. We are learning essentially. Like, for example, the suggestion from Saif with the interface today. So yeah, please keep up the engagement, and yeah, off we go to Friday.
Sure. See you Friday.
Cool.
See you guys
All
all
right.
Friday.
See you guys. Have a nice day, evening, morning.
All right, Joe.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Cheers.
Good night. It's night in here. Good night.